All hail Liberia, hail. All hail Liberia, hail. This glorious land of liberty shall long be ours. Though new her name, great be her fame, and mighty be her powers. Though new her name, great be her fame, and mighty be her powers, and mighty be her powers, and mighty be her powers. In joy and gladness, with our hearts united, we shout the freedom of our rest benighted. Long live Liberia, happy land, a home of glorious liberty by God's command, a home of glorious liberty by God's command. Liberia.
All right, this is how we do it. Yeah, our Liberian Lone Star has wonderful players, wonderful political players. Right, the ALP, the LPP, the UP, the CDC, whatever you call it. Our Liberian Lone Star has wonderful players. The political landscape is heating up, and tonight we are using our Liberian Lone Star song just to talk about the wonderful land of liberty. Yeah. Alright, is CDC going to give JMD Kanya Pepe, or JMD is going to give the CDC Kanya Pepe? We will find out tonight. Welcome to the show. My name is Sam Gadu here, day 5 of elections broadcast, bringing you live, Green Country, Oklahoma. It's 12 a.m., 12:21 a.m. in Liberia. Those of you in Liberia, 12:21 a.m. It is just, not 12:21, yes, it is 12:21. It is just 7:21 my time. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Be a part of this show. Okay, folks, welcome to another fascinating show here tonight. Welcome to Talk TV Media Network. My name is Sam Gadu. This is where we talk politics. We mix sports and politics because politics is like sports. You have to strategically position your players in order to win. This is the essence why we're playing the song Kanya Pepe. Because if you don't have the mind of the coach, the team, those who are substitutes on the bench, what caused the team to win? Right, folks? You tend to lose the game of politics. It's like chess. It's like Scrabble. That's how politics is. And we only have 5 days to go. We only have 5 days to go. So who do you think is well positioned to win the elections? Let me put that question right on the board for you. Those of you who are joining me tonight, first and foremost, I want to welcome you all here tonight. It's nothing but day 5 of politics, day 5 of election discussions, and you can join me on the show. You can comment. Your comments are very much appreciated. You can call in on the number on the screen, and very soon, I will be posting the link. If you need to join in on the live broadcast with me, you are more than welcome. Politics. We have 5 days to elections, and this coming weekend is going to be the closing arguments. That's how I call it. When you are about to get into the final half of the match, and you have 5 minutes to go, injury time. You have the extra time given to you. This is where Liberian politicians are right now. And a lot of shifting is happening. But for those of you who do not even know, there is a lot of breaking news I got for you. A lot of breaking news. Because people are already beginning to shift. Political parties, people of integrity, and that is something we will talk about tonight. Are they really? The news that we are getting, that we are hearing, is it true? Is it true? We want to know. Here is one. Breaking news. Is Tewon Ganglo Party leaning on joining the CDC? Shocking, huh? That is shocking. Before we even go into who is well positioned to discussing to winning the elections, we want to see why is this shift taking place right now. Right? Because it's quite evident that this thing is going to end up between CDC and Unity Party and its collaborating political parties. But then the question is, all the rest of the 17 parties, who are they going to join? Who are they going to endorse? Where are they leaning? A guy like Councillor Tewon Ganglo, that I have admired, I have stood firmly behind. The news that we are getting, is it true? Because some of us are not on the inside. A lot of people are inside. They are insiders. They know what's going on. They know what's at play. But if it is true that Tewon Ganglo is joining the current leadership, the current government, joining hands with CDC to eat in the same plate, in the same bowl, a man of integrity, a man of impeccable character and integrity, Tewon Ganglo. How is that true? We saw Taiwan today enter Zedru in a Nissan Titan. Some of us are car fanatics. We know every car you drive. We just see it. Once I see it, I know. That was a Nissan Titan, playing all his good songs, playing the Pape songs, and waving out there. The Taiwan I know. Yeah. But is it true? We'll find out. But folks, let me go back to the main discussion tonight. Who do you think is well positioned? Who do you think is well positioned right now as we speak to join, to win the elections? I am posting the link right now so you all can join. Anybody who wants to join can join tonight because this is open mic discussion. Don't be nervous. You can come in, join. I just posted a link, StreamYard. Yeah, you can join into the show and come in live, right? It's open mic. Whatever you feel like, whatever you want to talk about, this is a platform. We will talk about it tonight. But we're talking about who is well positioned to winning the elections next week, Tuesday. Is it going to be a first round ballot or are they going to go to the second round? We want to know. We have seen a lot of activities taking place. This weekend, we do have the Unity Party climaxing their final victory rally all across the country. That will be taking place this weekend. Is that rally this Saturday? Yes, this coming Saturday. Because by Monday, there'll be no campaigning. And Sunday will be the final day for the CDC as well. And they will be having theirs at the ATS. Final rally. Oh my God. I cannot wait for these elections to be over. I cannot wait. Too much craziness. Too much chaos taking place. Too much attacks. Infringements of people's rights. Everything. Cursing one another. Crisscrossing, across the country. All in the mud and stuff. President flying overboard to get to his, a helicopter to get to his own home place. His own people. There is a saying that says a prophet is never respected in his own hometown. That adage, that saying, it's not any ordinary saying. It is true. Because we saw what happened to President Foya. His own people. The scripture says he came to his own people and his own people refused him not. That's what happened to George Foya. A lot of mischaracterization of events, things that are taking place. This is where we set things right, especially what's going on in Foya when I heard Mulba Malud, CDC party chairman, trying to use the scenario in Foya politically, where 2 people died, lost their lives. Oh, I see my man in the background. Let me bring him right on the screen.
Hey.
What's up, brother? My brother from another mother.
Not much.
How you doing?
I'm getting some echo.
You getting a lot of echo, huh?
Yeah.
Is it much better?
Oh, yes, better now. No echo.
Hello?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
Okay, let me see. Maybe it's my mic.
Oh,
because I was in here alone. Is it better now?
It's much better. Yeah, I can hear. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Oh, nice.
Okay, those of you who are out there listening to us, please let us know if there's echo. Let us know. We'll adjust things around here.
Okay.
This is why it is. I've been through this when it comes to these technical difficulties that you tend to encounter, especially in the middle of your broadcast. You know what they used to do when I started broadcasting? I would guess when there's a technical glitch, I would start sweating. You know, as to what to do. What's going on? Until I got to a point where I'm so comfortable, like, okay, it is what it is. Until I just work it through.
Yeah,
But welcome, man. Welcome. How was your vacation, bro?
it was great. I also enjoyed yesterday's show. Unfortunately, I couldn't get on, but my good friend Richard Samalu was on, and I really admire his analysis of like Foya politics, especially at the
Hold on. I'm getting more feedback. Do you have anything on the speaker over there?
no. Let me check.
Echo. Okay. Yeah, because I keep getting a lot of feedback too.
Maybe I let me let
Can
me
you hear me? Am
yeah,
I better?
yeah, let me turn off my earpiece and see whether that's not the problem.
Okay. This is what normally take place when you're in the middle of your, you know, nice broadcast. Okay, go ahead and talk from your end. Maybe I'll be able to see what's going on. Say something. Can you hear me? You can hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? There's still
Hello?
some echo from the guests. Thomas is saying there's still some echo from the guests. Okay. Yeah. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's how's the echo right now?
I think it's much better.
All right. So yeah, I'm trying to turn off my. Let me turn off this, disconnect this, and then
Yeah, I think it's from your end. But while I wait for you, let me give the people their little music, right? Okay, let's try again. Can you hear me better?
I
Are
can
you
hear you.
okay?
Yeah, no echo this time. I think so. I think it was from my end, and I want to
Yeah,
apologize for
yeah.
that.
It's a whole lot better now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I was saying yesterday's show was great. Samuel was on the show. He's my guy. You know, we went to school together. So, and I really admire his analysis around like the situation for you around politics.
Yeah. He's one of those who really intrigued me yesterday about all the events, the political events over the years in Foya.
Yeah,
That was good, and that's my boy. I have to try to get him back.
yeah,
Keep coming.
yeah.
Especially yeah. You want to have someone who knows what's going on in Liberia, and he's just coming fresh, so he knows.
Yeah, and he been involved in it. I know. First of
Yeah,
all,
he
so
has.
Samuel
He
is a
has.
smart guy, and then he also been involved. I think his analysis was really spot on, and he really touched on some really issues, really important issues as it relates to FOIA politics. I usually say this to people, right? Because sometimes people think about it. People try to compare FOIA politics with national politics. I was like, you got to understand things to get the full context, right? When people are
Yeah,
saying this person is going to do this, I'm like, you need to understand the context of a place before you can just make those conclusions or so.
definitely, especially when tradition is involved.
Yes.
So much deep traditions, and that is why I was trying to attack last night. The so say one, so say all. Some of them are still embedded, it's still in their mind. They feel like this, as though the word has not moved on, or it's not even moving. That the days of so say one, so say all, those days, that's not what we experience. You know how many times I have my kids, my 7-year-old tell me, Daddy, I don't want that. He just speak up his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to respond and respect him for what he thinks. And now I, as a parent, his father, have to convince him why I said no, why I think this is not good for him. I have to convince him, but that is not so in our tradition. Once the elders speak, you should shut up. Don't say anything else. I'm like, whoo. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I mean it gets hard for me too, I
Yeah.
mean, 50 some years old, that's hard for me too.
Yeah. No, but I think coming back to your question, so basically, I mean, and there's something that I mean over the next few days we'll be doing. So I'm working with a team right now, like we're doing some data analysis or so,
Mhm.
trying to see how best we can do some projections. And we're creating different scenario. I mean, doing a number of different scenario analysis to just see, you know,
Who's well positioned?
yeah, so who well positioned, what are some of the anticipated outcomes and all of those things. And it's a scientific process, but even though it's a scientific process, it's not an exact science. So that's something that I should tell people, like, yeah, some of these things is like, it's not like an exact science. So basically it's like we use a lot of different scientific process and data to really help us to understand these things and creating these scenarios. But the result is dependent on those scenarios taking place. So what we usually do use is like, so we're using data from like the past elections. We're looking at past elections data. We're
Right.
looking at current elections data. We're looking at different electoral behavior theory across Africa or even Liberia from previous elections, and then we are creating these scenarios to really break things down for people so that people can see where things are. So I
Hmm.
think it's very interesting that today you brought up this question or so, and looking at because I think data is the best. At least in my opinion, because I work in academic, so data is the best way. Right, we can see what people say on videos, or we can see, or we can read a lot of things in the media. But then, how do they connect with data on the ground?
Right.
Is very
And
important.
normally when we're having the U.S. elections, that's how they do it here. And
Yes.
it helps the analysis help people to see the factors that are moving, you know, things in the direction the way they are moving. It's very very educational. It's very helpful. To see that looking at the wave, you taking into consideration the crowd that each candidate is pulling, or you also looking at the trucking that they are doing, who's doing more trucking, as in the contributions, are more people paying out of pocket, to the JMB campaign using their own finances and money versus the CDC, all of that, because there's a saying that says you put your money where your mouth is. That's it. And this it takes me back to the days of Barack Obama,
Mm-hmm.
when it was all grassroots. Everybody, most people, majority were involved. People were giving $5, $10, $20, just to make that history, the first U.S. black president. You know, and that's kind of what I see scenario. I see with Joseph Juma Boakai and the UP, that the common man, people are involved, and not just involved by showing up in the rain. Can you imagine a Liberian man showing up in the rain? It's not like, oh, dew falling, but pouring and pouring. And see how the city is so packed when you have a 6-inch rain or 1 hour, 2 hour range or rain. Almost all the septic tanks are popping up. People were in a poo poo. Liberian man said poo poo water.
I mean, you touch on a significant data point. I think one of the first things we're trying to understand is voter enthusiasm to see turnout rate. So I mean, the last election, 2017, the turnout rate was around 75%.
Right.
Yeah. So this time around, just from the initial exploration, some of the things we are seeing is we are predicting that could go higher to around 80% or so, or it could be 80% or above. And we are making that conclusion on two different reasons. One is for the first time we're seeing a lot of young voters coming into first
Yeah,
time
first
voters.
time voters. Yeah.
They're speaking up a lot, and they're coming into politics very enthusiastic about the process, which is something. It's a great thing for Liberia because these
Yeah.
people, they're educated, they're getting involved into the process, they find the process to be something that they really enjoy getting into or they really want to be
Right.
part of. The second thing is what the point you just touched on. I mean, just seeing the enthusiasm, especially from the opposition, like just seeing people waking up and saying, "Look, we will go this." I know you hit the nail on the head. People moving under the rain, in the water, trying to do these things, or you find people donating their money. Like I mean, the other time I was watching, I think it was that there was another show. I think it was Spoon Talk, where people were donating their money. People calling and donating, and these were not people that were donating like I mean, in the US, we take it for granted, but something.
Yeah, even in
But,
Liberia,
yeah,
a
people
lot of
were
people.
donating, donating. I'm talking about people in Liberia donating $50 Liberian, which is probably
Yes.
it's not even
Yes.
$1. But when you have the full context as to what people go through on a daily basis, some of these are just people who are like just hustlers, right?
Yeah.
$50 could probably get them a cup of rice for their family, but they're choosing to donated to politics. It just changed everything. I think you and I, when we were back there, several years ago, we used to see elections in another way where politicians would come in and give people money for people to vote for them, and now these people are doing this thing. So that enthusiasm there tells us that yeah, people are really interested in the process, and
and
they're going to
and
come
and,
up.
and part of that aspect that you just touched about, when a politician comes to you or to their precinct or precinct where that they control, they want to represent, and start trucking people and giving people money, when that person win, that politician, whoever that is, they're not going to feel a sense of responsibility, as in, these people voted me in with their heart, sweat, and blood. They will be like, I gave them money to vote me in. So they really don't care that much about the people. But if the people vote you in using their own money, you give them nothing, you feel a sense of responsibility, as in, there's no way I could have gotten here without these people. So you owe that community, some sort of loyalty to making sure that you develop, you do something for that district, for that community. Yeah, and that's what's happening. That's what's taking place.
Yeah, no, it also speak to the maturity of democracy in Liberia. So, I mean, I think you alluded to the video before I got on. You alluded to the video of what happened in Grand Crook today. With the President George Weah, and
Yeah,
I think that shows how Liberians are being much more cognizant of the whole democratic process, and they're holding their leaders accountable to say, hey, if you don't deliver something, we don't care.
we don't care. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna kick you out, and
we give you $100,000. Change that lyrics you guys are singing.
but you were giving that money. They would take that money, but they already know. So right now, I mean, right now, even if you have all the money, you can just go out there and just buy elections easily, right? I mean, it shows that people are also people knows, So you fool people a lot of time. People learn.
Yeah,
Because like you're saying, some of the guys come to trucking people come in, the voter, and then they abandon their districts, and all people seeing them. So now people know. So those things are now you can teach an old dog new trick, right? So they already know all of these things. They know what you're coming with and all of that. So basically, if you come in there, you're not delivering, they are likely to have that kind of response towards you. I think from what I was from sources people I spoke to in Liberia, because I'm also connecting with people on the ground to gather data from the counties and all of that, and I'm hoping that we can get real time data during the election night, like people will give us information from these different polling stations that we share. And most of the people I spoke to in the southeastern region, there was like, especially in Grand Crew, I mean Maryland, they said Maryland was okay, but in Grand Crew was not a really good homecoming for the president. And
you're gonna have to be with me live Tuesday all day all
oh
night.
we will be here all day. We'll be analyzing
crunching all the numbers here and connecting with all the media guys in a different counties, feeding us with info and feeding our people. And that is so key though. When you look at the George Weah led government, people in key positions in his government are all from his side of the country. But for his own hometown, nothing is done. I think the people were angry, they were mad, and all they needed to tell him was, shame on you. For 6 good years, you cannot even get a role here to us. You have to suffer to get here. That was hard though. That's a big
rebuke. I think the raw piece was one issue, but I think the guy, my guy spoke to there.
No, but listen to this. Joseph Boakai said this when he was in Foya yesterday, whatever. And as he was speaking to the people, he made a parable in Kisi that says, if you're eating food and you are the one, the soup is in your hand, dry rice, but you have the soup in your hand, where are you going to put the soup first? On your side of the bowl or on the other side? That was
I caught that. And he also spoke about it literally. He said the other guy you were talking about, you say I mean I haven't done anything. Ask what he hasn't done anything in his home. So you think if this man was supposed to do something, he would not do something in his home first.
That kind of takes me back to when you're in jail and they gave you the privilege of, you're in jail with 10 other people and they gave you the privilege that take out 5 people out of jail and you take out the 5 and you leave yourself in there. That's kind of why it is. Because when you're president, there's so much power and opportunity you have. You just need to say and things are done. Public work minister, in 1 month, 2 months time, I need road this way. Funds are allocated. Gone. It's done. If you don't, I get fired. You get fired. That's it.
I think, I think the point I was saying, because I was speaking to the guys and trying to better understand this thing. So the road issue is one thing, right? And also, to be honest, is I think one of the challenges that, and I want to speak about this from the broader perspective, not just from personal way. I'm talking about Liberian politics in general, and talking about politicians and all of that. So the thing about it is, I think politicians usually come and make big promises. I will do this. I will do this. I will do that, and do that. And then they get there. Sometimes some of the promises they make, they raise the expectations so high, and they don't realize that doing just the little things can be rather than thinking about the big things. So one of the things, the raw issue was one thing that the people, people were really concerned about in that region or something. But these people are now crying for maybe like a quota road or something, like a paved road. These people just want an accessible road that they can drive on.
Yeah.
They want to be able to move from one place to another.
Especially during the rainy season.
Yes, if you can help them to maintain their roads where they can get from point A to point B. That's the thing. The second thing, if you watch that video, most of the people, it was like a handful of youth. Those youth, they're sitting there, they don't have opportunities. And then you're telling them to say, oh yeah, you might control man, we're from the same area or something. Think about it and say, look, your relative has that, all of those things there. You hear them doing things for other people, you hear other people praising them, but I mean, think about it. Just think of your dad. They say your dad is a rich man. He has everything.
But you are poor.
And then you struggle.
And you got nothing.
And then he comes to you and say, hey, my son, I'm here. And you'll be like, no, Dad. So that's the
Yeah.
thing. So most of the young people, they don't have a lot of opportunities. So after 2017, a lot of opportunities left from those areas. Some of the companies closed down. So people are just there hustling. The other guy was saying, say sometimes to ride a motorbike from, I think he said from, I think, with Plebo
Yeah,
to
Plebo.
yeah to Barclayville. Sometimes it's like he rides his motorbike. He charges people like around 6,000 to 7,000 Liberian dollars just to make that trip, and take him
Crazy.
days to get there. Like he gets there, he has to sleep, and then suddenly again.
But when you look at the two, I would say the two signature agendas that Joseph Nyamabwaka will want to accomplish if he wins the elections, that's road and agriculture. Let's look at those two. The effect those two will have on the country, because it's enormous. You and I understand here in the U.S. I can literally start driving right now, and by tomorrow evening, I'm in New York, because where I'm at is like 2,000 plus miles drive. Right? I've driven from here in New York, but it's because of good roads. Good roads. We know that commerce, produce, products move from point A to point B when there's good roads. Moving from county to county. But imagine being stuck for 1 week, 2 weeks with all your produce, because of bad road in the mud, and all the food that you take in to go sell, you sit down now on the side of the road, you're finished eating it. That is insane. That is crazy. That is not helping the economy. And I also feel like if there are good roads and good agriculture, because of the overall population of Monrovia, it will decentralize. Most people will want to go back. Because if you're sitting in the city and you're really not making anything, and you have somewhere where you can go to Plebo or Lofa or somewhere and build yourself, and you're making good income where you can build yourself a 2-3 bedroom house, but you have enough food to eat, and you're making a little bit of money better. There are community colleges in those places. Why waste your time sitting in the city to ride a motorcycle as a way of income? Human capital development. These are the things. Once we have those, and you have institutions built in all these counties where trade is very key, especially with the young people that we see that have gone through war, and they didn't really do a lot of training coming out of there to rehabilitate them into society that well. No institutions as well. Once you involve and you invest into that, you tend to improve the country, because it's not now, but 10 years, 20 years down the road. Where do you see Liberia? The children, the generation we have now. That's it. That's what I'm looking at. So if he can prioritize roads, as he said, roads, and agriculture, and that has been his signature thing, if he takes over, I think it's gonna really move the country in the right direction.
Yeah, I think the thing. I mean, you touched on this, but I'm just going to add to it. Like, so road is very, very important, and where you build the road is also important. So I listened to the other day I was listening to President. I mean the current I think a Deputy Minister Wolokoli Samora Wolokoli or something like that. Mm-hmm. He was talking about the amount of roads that they have built. They have building. And so you think about it, like there's a difference between you building a road that can lead to economic activity, or just building a road because you want to build a road for vanity, right? So you build a road, so you have to be very strategic because you have very limited resources. I think so. Right now, I mean, if I was advising whoever's going to win this election next time, and they're thinking about roads, I'll tell them, don't focus on building new roads in places like Monrovia. Take those resources. Focus on building roads,
because they're just patching all the roads around Monrovia. They're just patching them up.
Yeah. So you build field miles in different communities in Monrovia. People like but that is not leading that. I mean, it's not turning up much economic activities compared to you building those few miles of roads, like connecting Lofa or connecting the southeast, where people will be able to move freely and all of that. So thinking about that. The other thing about it, be very strategic. So as you build that road, you might not be able to, because Liberia right now is like Liberia's over leverage. We might not have the money to do all of those things. And I mean, I have some ideas around like public-private partnership that people can take, and then government can also look into. But with your very limited resources, I think road maintenance is key. I mean, I mean, I haven't been in Liberia like you for a while, and I was talking to the guys from the South. I was like, what's the difference between this year or over the last 6 years and the previous year? They said, look, even during the rainy season time over the last previous year, the road hasn't been this bad. So what's the difference? And the simple difference was maintenance. The other guy told me about Lofa Road. He said USAID and the government had a deal where USAID used to maintain that road. Even during the rainy season time, you could drive on that road. You know, it wasn't a paved road, but you could drive on that. Now, when you abandon the road, you know, then
yeah. Go ahead. You're talking about road. I just wanted to make sure I get this up there for our viewers to see. Lofa Road, when a presidential advance team is being pulled.
But you know, coming back to this Lofa Road thing, I think so.
It's long overdue. Lofa Road is long overdue.
Yeah, but you know, UP did something that I felt like it shows that they have an unfair advantage. You realize that Barker did not struggle to get to Lofa compared to. Did you see a picture of Barker car hitching the more people pushing it?
Why do you think?
They were very strategic. They know the area, so they knew all of the areas. If you look at the number of cars, they knew the area. I spoke to somebody on their team. They were like, "Oh, we got that," because they were like, "Oh no, we're not going to have the same experience that the other people had."
And I didn't see any pictures like
you wouldn't
stuck
see
in the mud though.
No, they had cars set up at different locations and all of that. You know, so those guys were moving and they were pulling themselves out. They had cars. Some cars was sent ahead, waiting. So it was just easy for people to move. But did you see the number of cars they took?
Yeah, they took a lot of cars.
They took a lot of cars.
And imagine, you can't tell me all the journalists and all those that went could not take pictures for us. But you only went the president pushing his convoy and pulling the caterpillar.
I mean, when you know your terror, you know it. The guys knew the terror. They knew how to get there. But think about how Sylvester and other folks got there. They found another way around. They came through Kwendu area, all of those things. So the guys really know the area or something. And it was well mapped up. It was well planned. So I was laughing. I was like, see, they knew how to get there. But coming back to the whole issue about the road thing, yeah. So I think the next government, and that can be your legacy. You know, build those roads, connect. If you can connect every capital or every county in Liberia, that's your legacy. You know, you can just. Can you imagine we are a country of what we say we got independence, which I don't call independence. I would call it statehood. We got independence since 1847, and we don't have roads. In fact, we have on the size of.
Sometimes too, it's hard to fathom. For 176 years of independence, look at Ghana. Look at even the Ivory Coast next door to us. Sierra Leone is moving fast.
Yeah.
What is going on? I realized, and I talked about this the other day. It is this greed. It is this greed. People getting into power to steal. People getting into power, not wanting to serve, but to my own chopping time. Our own chopping time. And that is not what government is for. Because when you get into government, you are hired. There is a set salary for you as a minister, deputy minister, whoever is in that entity. That is all you are required to, and the benefits that come to it. Anything else more than that, it's not for you to squander the resources. If there's monies allocated for development, you execute. But some of them are even ministers in those ministries. When you walk in those ministries, you cannot even have a good fitting bathroom to use if you want to ease yourself. You can have a good bathroom with all the monies, which is like, why are you running for office? What do you want to get into government? What do you intend to achieve, to accomplish? These are the questions that sometimes runs through my bloodstream as in, why everybody want to be in the legislature?
Yeah, I mean, so I think the road thing, the other piece that you were touching about the corruption. I think one of the biggest area where we see a lot of loss in in funding for roads is around the area of those concession agreements, like the agreements people agree with sign with contractors, and their way. Take for example, right now the road for the Fee Highway Road that the government is
Yeah,
building now. That road should have been built for something. The estimated cost should have been around 80 million, no more than 80 million. Now the government is spending 160, almost 120 million dollars on that. So you think
ridiculous.
about it, that's a 40 million dollars difference there that could have been used because people want something. And that money is all that project is all funded by the government. One of the reasons why the government chose to go, especially this CDC government, to to do some of those things like government finance for some of these projects is because they don't want that oversight. So I know I used to consult for the World Bank and
Yeah, especially when there is a war band project. It is a war band project that is being spearheaded. They will only disburse those funds to you based on increment of the process, how
yeah,
far you come by phases,
yeah,
right? So they want to make sure that the money is achieving its goal.
yeah.
So if the government comes in, they want to run all their own thing, that chopping thing,
Yeah.
because they
So
don't
you
want
see,
that oversight. They don't want to be held accountable.
they don't want to be because then the people know. For example, look, the other thing about lo-fi, I think the other thing this government had done to lo-fi was, which is bad. That lo-fi road should have been completed about what in 2019. The funding was already signed for. The funding agreement was agreed by the previous government. The only thing that the government has to pay for was pay to relocate people who were, people who properties that were being destroyed along the way.
Along the way. Yeah.
And the government decided not to pay for it, so the road stopped. Can you imagine? You have the funding already, the loans have already been signed. You're only to just do your job. And the same thing with the road from Tapeta connecting to Zoeju, the same problem, the World Bank. In fact, the government made a very big mistake. I mean, when they came in, they canceled that. They decided to step back for every project with the World Bank, IMF, everything. I don't know who was advising them. They're like, they're going into
Who will you,
private.
who do you think that handles all of that besides the finance minister? He's always in
So,
the know
yeah,
of it.
but he's a smart guy. I think I felt like because he worked with the African Development Bank, I thought he was going to be smart enough to say, hey. But then also they had their own, probably maybe he had his own agenda. They decided to step
Yes.
back. So they stepped back from the IMF, they stepped back from the World Bank. The money was there. Everything was already agreed. The government of Liberia was going to do certain part, and the World Bank was going to do its part. So that road, should have been done by now. They decided not to go for it. And at the end of the day, they went out. They said they were going to get private loans outside and all of that. When that didn't work out, they came back. But at that time, the funds was no longer around because some of those funds are allocated. Most of the roads that was built under the Salic government, very few that the government paid for. Most of them were through grants. So some people, I think there was a question somebody was asking the other time, like, why did Salic negotiate all of these roads? And some of them have been built on a Weir administration, or they were not built ever because the process there, So, for example, if you go to the World Bank and say, "Look, I want to build this project," the World Bank is going to help you to source fund.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Swedish government will say, "Hey, now give $1 million." The Norwegian government will say, "I've given 2 million." But all of those funds are not going to come together in one and four.
Right.
They're going to
right.
come. So, all of that fund has to come together before that money is dispersed. Now, if you step back from that contract, people who were supposed to get that money was like, because the institution was just telling them like the government is no longer interested in that. So that money, you lose that money. That what happened with especially the Zweju Tapeta role. So when the guys were thinking about going into private funding, they're talking about, I think you heard about the coastal highway that they're going to get this loan and all of those things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they stepped back, and when they came back to the World Bank, the World Bank was like, "Hey, the money is no longer around."
And the sad part about that is they know fully well that there are other nations that have similar requests on the table.
Yeah.
So when you lose yours, that is going to go to somebody else who has a good program, who wants to execute that, another country, and so this funding will go somewhere else. So I mean, and a lot of those contracts were in place, just like you mentioned, which is sad, and I want to sometimes think, as a predecessor, when you take over, you want to be in close consultation with the previous leader who was in that office that you've taken over. And that is something Samuel Tour did not do. He didn't do that. He didn't humble himself as saying, let me consult my former colleagues who have been in the know. Because I feel like that's wisdom. That's wisdom to tap into.
I'm not going to try to defend Samuel Toure, but I think from people that got inside, like just connection, and this could not be true at all, but I just from sources even told me that Samuel Toure had gotten advice from people who were privileged in government. They told him that, hey, do not deal with the IMF, do not deal with the World Bank, step back from some of these things. And I was like, if he did it, then that was one of the stupidest ideas he ever did, right? Why would you do something like that? So so I'm not saying, I'm just trying to say he might have reached out to those folks, but probably maybe he spoke to the wrong folks. And
I listened to one of the former finance minister, Buema, who said and he's always a bone of contention because he left enough for Samuel Toure to pick up, to run things with. And he didn't even care to show up for him to turn over his office. He had to leave everything on the table for him. I saying, I'm taking over, walk me through. My man, you're coming in here, this is it. You're going to be dealing with this. You're going to be dealing with this. Keep up. Keep your eyes on this. Coach, yes, you there, but I'm always accessible to you, available. Call me for consultation if you need help. I'm here because at the end of the day, what matters is the country. And if you do better, your name shines. It's you. It is not that finance minister who's going to get the credit. You get the credit for that. So, I don't get it.
I also think that sometimes these guys look at these things in a different way because somebody already negotiated the contract, you're just there to implement it. Then they think about it like they don't have the power to renegotiate or to request for their own packet change and all of those things or so. So that way, I think the corruption piece that you touch on that way it comes in. So most of those things, I think some of that effort to step back from some of those things were like, we don't want any kind of oversight. We want to do our own thing our own way. And I think they had this whole idea that in fact getting those funding is going to be easy, so they could just leverage the country and get money.
Finance ministry makes money. The revenue department of the country makes a lot of money. When you look at maritime, when you look that very airport, look at the COVID. Every one of us that travel back and forth, $75 US, and they will not take your check card or debit card. You have to pay in cash. $75. If you are traveling in a sub-region, it's $50. Many times at our airport, I'm like, but who is this money going to? The very people that work at the airport, they say, but go ask Bagube.
Okay. So
can you imagine? No accountability, man. The money at that airport alone should have, make Robertsfield International Airport one of, oh my God, a very big hub. Because Liberia is a very good connecting point to other nations. So anybody who gets there and make that airport vibrant and fix that super highway from there to town, as they have begun, that would be good. If it is George Weah, I would still encourage him to finish that project.
Yeah, finish that project. Yeah, so
finish that project. It is necessary because that is the gateway, the first impression to your country. When any visitor, anyone comes in, that these guys mean business.
Yeah.
Around the airport, there's only one hotel. If you want to spend a night, go to Ghana. You have options. Go to any other Western country. You and I around the airport. You have so many options which hotel you want to stay into. There's only one hotel at that airport.
And I think that's a factor of like what you're saying. I think when you make that place a hub, you don't even need to build a hotel. Then private citizens will go and build a hub.
Thank you.
Because when you make the place a hub, traffic is coming heavily.
Thank
People
you.
go there and invest. So that
People will invest. Yes.
Yeah.
People will buy land and properties and invest because that's money.
Yeah.
That's money. That's money. But let's move on to JMB's message to the Foya people.
Yeah.
The JMB's message to the people of Foya resonate to win votes out of Foya. Let me play a little bit of his clip. Listen to this. For those of you who are listening, this is he actually spoke in his own dialect, Kisi. So I'm just going to play a little bit of it. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
It's about to speak at this campaign rally to citizens of Foya district. It's around the town.
That's okay, please, listen. Yeah, it's not cities are not too for you.
You see the politics is playing? So he said, let me pause right there. He said, as far as he's concerned, there's no sedition in Foya. And so he and so he asked, if there's any sedition here, put your hand up. So everybody went wild laughing. He's like, as far as I'm concerned, Joseph Boaka, there's no sedition in Foya district. That was very political though.
And I think when you do something for a long time, you know your people. I mean, it was smart because even if anybody had raised their hand, imagine if somebody had raised their hand. I was talking about this. Somebody had raised their hand. Why? It still becomes something for him because you'll be able to have a conversation with that person. You'll be able to make the statement to say even people from the other side came to my rally. So it was something. But I think the bigger piece there was after everything that happened was
right.
The reconciliation. I think the last time I was on the show, I was talking about was an opportunity to reconcile, especially after the event that took place, was to make sure to say, hey, we are one people.
And I was told he visited with the very families, the bereaved families, before leaving.
Yeah, so it was an opportunity to really reconcile and bring things together. But since then, to be honest, I don't know, but to be honest, you know this because you've been dealing with the guys on the ground there. So, but I've seen some changes. I mean, even from Thomas Fowler's side, I think the other time was he spoke. He spoke about respect for elders. He was angry. I mean, he was saying something.
You could tell from his emotions.
What he was saying, people, not because I have respect for elders, I'm holding back. I think probably maybe he have learned something to be like, that. I mean, this is a traditional place, and that respect for the elders is very, very important. So if you want to really do something here, you have to show that respect. Those people.
But that kind of get under this under some of us. It gets under our skin though. Just like I told you earlier, that so say one, so say all thing. I mean, we need to realize the world is changing as time goes by. But let's get another area where he,
Christmas, you're acting Boxing Day, New Year,
okay. Let me pause there. The tripartite states. Yeah. And he played that very well too. The Kisi in Sierra Leone, the Kisi in Guinea, the Kisi in Foya. They're all just within that region. And he talks about that we are all one because there is something that the Kisi people always say, that there is no boundary between us. Except when they see you as stubborn or something else, then they want to put boundary. Oh, then they want to kind of label you as he's from Guinea, he's not one of us. He's from Sierra Leone, he's not one of us. But all of that is nonsense, when they do that. That's the kind of politics I don't like. But so the way he played that, whether you come from Guinea or Sierra Leone or Foya, we all are one. There's no boundary. I felt like that was a good card too that he used, a card of unity.
Yeah, yeah. I think the message of there's more that unite us than divide us is something that was really, really important. So you can come from Guinea, Sierra Leone, or so, but there's more that unite you as Kisi than divide you as Kisi from Sierra Leone or Kisi from Guinea or so. So I think that's and that was a really powerful message. I think just that's what I was saying. Going there, tempering down the tension, making sure he talked about politics. I think the other piece I really want to talk. I really want to touch on from his message. I don't know if you're going to play it.
Go ahead.
Where he mentioned that he's like, "This is the last time I'm driving on this bad road."
Yeah. Let me see if I can get that.
Kan omela nancheni. Waka yepe kuta nanda chenuka ndo. Nene yepe konjano nje. Chambe hapa. Kili lancho. Aye mamu wana tena Aye ma school akene nante. Aye ma chela makongo nante. Kisha ni kama mtua kono ndo mata yento saya.
I can't wait for the kissing show Saturday.
Oh yeah, I will watch that show. I gotta watch that show. So yeah, No, I think the reason why I brought this up is because also I think so it's a big commitment. I mean, it's a big commitment, and I think because that would be something like like someone like me,
right,
out there to hold him accountable for.
Oh yeah, all of us will hold him accountable.
Someone like I'm like, okay, if you can do that, yay, man, you will be like one of the greatest leaders that we ever had. So, and if you can really do that, so I think So I know I trust he has a lot of great advisors. They have considered all of this.
Sometimes, Kofi, I tend to realize what's in it for him to gain at this point. It's all just legacy.
Legacy, yeah.
Legacy is all he wants to leave behind. What Joseph Boakai is not crazy about what kind of fancy car he wants in his convoy. Whether that car is going to cost $100,000. In fact, he will rebuke you on that. He's not crazy about he's just about the guy, the current president of a friend of mine were talking about this last night. Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
He's rotten rich.
Yeah.
He's an older man. He's probably older than Joseph Boakai.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all just about legacy, though. At that point, at that age, he just wants his good health and what he can eat good. He just want to make sure that everything that he does, he leaves a legacy behind. He does things that will benefit the generations and the young people to come, the right things. And that comes about putting the right team together.
Yeah.
And you can see that, especially with the fundraising that is ongoing, with Mulba Malu being in charge of that. The way they said that.
John Malu.
Oh my God. Well, Malu, the citizen will be like, what? Has CDC switched already before the elections? Yeah, John Malu, someone who is very well reputable, renowned, well-known, respected, to handle that aspect of the financial, for the party. And when you bring people of caliber like that, people of high, honor and respect, people who will not compromise, you bring the integrity, and that is what the world is looking at. Who is he bringing? Who's working for him? Are they trusted? You know, can I take my $1 billion to Liberia and invest it? Can I bring my billionaire friend, knowing that the judicial system is not going to compromise if someone mess with that billionaire or that investment? You know, as in, my man, y'all deal with that man, y'all lock the man up, my man. Let's frustrate him and he will get out of here. And he confiscate all his stuff. That security, that image that you portray, that you present to the world, that is what the people, the investors are looking at to pour in, to develop the country, to improve the country. That's it. It is that integrity. As in, no one is you're not walking at night and you scare someone is going to snatch your phone away from you. You know, because everyone in Liberia right now, you have a phone at night or even during the day. You got to hold it tight. You got to put it somewhere tight. I'm not playing. They will snatch it off.
Yeah.
I took a very nice, good phone, very nice, good Android phone for my brother when I was going last year. You know, broad day, what they did to him? He was coming out of the keke, and the ball came right there by him with a knife to open his stomach. Or he said, "Pape, give it to me."
Wow.
Yeah, he handed it over. My brother got home. He was cold. He couldn't talk. I said, "Well, what's going on?" He was speechless. That is it. You don't want people living. Every house you build is all barricaded with iron bars. You know, double gates. You're thinking someone is going to come in to steal, you know, to break in. It almost looks like we are in prison. You build your nice fancy home, but you're in prison. That's kind of what it looks like, you know. And this is what we need to put the right leaders in place in government to eradicate, to get rid of all of this kind of stuff that's taking place.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that the other great thing that you raised about this fundraiser that I wanted to talk about. I think one of the notion has been that Liberian people don't like to pay taxes, right? One of the things we'll talk about Liberia, okay, why we can't raise enough money for the budget and all of those things. But it just shows that people will pay taxes when they trust in something. So look at the process when they believe in something. They will pay taxes to the government when they believe in it. They know that their tax money.
Yeah.
Look at this process. People were volunteering their money. This is not even tax. Volunteering their money, like, you know, because they saw people with integrity. They saw someone like John Malu out there. The process, the way they were doing it was very transparent. So basically, they knew that money was going somewhere. So people were happy to give that. So imagine if you take that, you bring it into government. Think about how much revenue people will be able to, how much businesses will be willing to pay because they know at the end of the day, they know that money is going to better off their community or going to create more opportunities for them.
But those of us, that's very evident. Those of us who run businesses, or even those people, you're working, you pay your taxes at the end of every paycheck. You know, you see in the roads, you see every day where there is, even in neighborhoods, you have problems, you call, they will come and fix stuff. The improvement, the infrastructure is being improved. You know that the taxes, your money is at work. So you're not feeling it that much, as in you're giving it, but there is accountability. And if you go to every city government in the U.S., every mayor to every mayor city, you to ask for accountability, where the city funds, how they are being dispersed, and you know what projects they have, it's there on the books. It's there. Like here in Tulsa, we have what we call 2025 vision. Young mayor. He's probably in his 30s or early 40s. He has this mindset of innovating, and since he took over, you know about the Kaiser Foundation?
Yeah.
The Kaiser Foundation is huge here in Tulsa.
Okay.
Years ago, they were giving scholarship or grants to people to move into Tulsa. You know, people who are technocrats, you know, to move, $10,000, relocate. And now Tulsa is booming. See, that's what I'm talking about. People see accountability, they will give.
Yeah.
People who's sitting on the fence, foreign people, investors, they will come in with their money. That is what we need. And in order to do that, you need people that are trusted. You need people with character. Someone who is not going to say, no, I will eat it for today, only for me and my family. But then what happened tomorrow then? You eat it today, it's done.
Yeah, I mean, and I thought it was a smart move to just put someone like John Molo on that
Yeah.
to lead that, because John Molo is like, when people think about integrity in Liberia, like, and most people would think about John Molo. This is the guy who even fought against Ellen. That was yeah. So yeah. So the other thing, so I mean, because I really want us to focus on this trip to Lofa a little bit. So the other thing, he made another promise I thought was also interesting when he was in Kolahom. He said, "Look, people always say I come over and I don't stop by, I don't sleep, I just go, I will sleep here. But after the election, this is going to be the first place I was sleeping." And I thought it was also very strategic, understanding, the relationship with our cousins and all of the things around, like how he approached that, right? Something that, and making the promise to them. It's like, so basically, that's something I'll also be watching, like.
But it was very much skeptical that he was not number one. People were not going to turn up when especially 1 week or less than a week when President Weah was in Lofa. All that momentum and stuff. And when you see how he entered Lofa, from Lofa Bridge, and they our born people took him. They did all their traditional stuff and they handed him over to the Lofians. Here's your father, and they did all the traditional stuff, the crabs. He slept in Vonjama. Can you imagine getting in Vonjama that late? It was like, I think 9 or 11 p.m. And they tried to tell the people to go home, that tomorrow morning we're going to have the program. People said, no, tonight.
The people came out at 8 a.m. in the morning. Can you imagine? They were out there.
That was crazy. And then he slept there, and Kolahu, he slept there. He could easily just say, oh, Foya is literally down the road. Yeah. Let me just finish all the political stuff and go to Foya. But he's like, these are my nephews. I have to sleep here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was amazing to see how he planned that, along with, and I think, one thing I was thinking when I was looking at the rescue mother, Yamli Kanga, I think there's a lot she's learning right now. Mm-hmm. She's learning a lot, and I'm grateful that she took the decision she took. Mm-hmm. Right now, it was a hard decision, but now I can tell deep down in her heart it was necessary, because she is walking along and learning. This was, especially this trip for Lofa, was a learning, whole eye opener for Yamli Kanga, Lawrence.
Yeah. Instead of give her a name or a Klubo.
and another funny thing that drove my attention was they gave that a gift over there in Foya.
Oh, wow.
So much gift and clothes, and people who were not even on the trip, they were just honoring people. Jeremiah Cohn, his wife, Madala Cooper, a lot of other senators. So many people they were just honoring in Foya. I'm like, wow. So these people really planned this thing. But the thing that I realized, it could have been more than what the turnout could have been more if the incident that took place before had not taken place. The turnout would have been massive, far more than what we saw.
But I mean, I think, but even in spite of that, I think this, I mean, it was still successful. I think I'm just seeing people like something. I was joking around, like, so when you look at the first place I gave you a sense, I was giving us a sense around, like, when you look at the Zozo Vonjama belt, right?
Yeah,
seeing that, like, after, because the president came in, he passed there, and they came out, I saw posting on social media, like, Zozo has fallen, and then the Lofa has fallen. And then right a few hours later, you see people in the same uniform, in CDC uniform, and then like, well, these people,
they're learning. They're good at politics, man.
I was like, but these people, wow. So they just try to.
I got confused too, because when President Weah went, I was like, wow, Weah's really pulling the crowd.
Yeah.
But then the same people. That's crazy, man. Like,
yeah, right after that, I see the same people think, like them doing about, like, what's happening here. This is not, So these are people.
What do you make up? What do you make up? Let me piggyback. Let me piggyback a little bit. What do you make up of this breaking news that Taiwan Gonglo party is leaning on joining CDC? What do you make of that? Because knowing the character Taiwan, the man who Taiwan Gonglo is, the man who resigned under Ellie, knowing CDC, you know what they have been, and lately he's been. I mean, in most of his campaign, he's been critical on JMB.
Yes,
he's been critical because I'm somebody who has always admired him. But do you think that it would have been prudent for him? Okay, I'm not supporting anybody. Let me sit. As in, I'm joining the bandwagon with CDC. Do you think this would destroy him?
So first of all, I mean, I've heard this. I think a few hours ago. I don't know. I mean, it hasn't been confirmed yet. So I will, because I mean, Tier 1 is somebody that I have a lot of respect for.
And that's why I want us to use the word if.
Yeah.
If it is true.
Yeah, but also I think the other thing
would that be a shocker to you?
I mean, so I think it wouldn't be that shocking that much, especially with Liberian politics right now, right? There's a lot of things that people can sway anyway. And I think, if people make their decisions in so many different ways. If he come up and say, look, I made my decision because of this, because I felt that this was that, I think that's up to him. Now you can talk about I think the question you're asking about his legacy, how much, what are people will see him in the same view. I think it would be hard for people to really think about this guy who's like this campaigner who even, I think Ellen, he was very critical Ellen around like something like corruption and all of those things. And then saying, hey, so I think explaining that decision would be really hard. That's why I'm still on the fence because knowing who he is, I don't know, So I remember, I'll be really curious to hear him explain his choice or why he made that decision.
Wow.
Yeah,
that would definitely be a shocker. To some
extent. I mean, I had a sense that. Yeah, I think I had a sense that he was. He was going to be dropping out because I had a sense that he was going to be dropping out, but I never thought he was going to be leaning one way or the other. But I had a sense that financially it was imprudent. He did the best he could, moving around. He just really couldn't afford to really do. And secondly, it was like, to what end? Because you're not going to win Nimba.
Exactly, especially when you know the end result. What it's all the variables, all the factors are all odds are against you. The reality is why you want to stay in the race. Could it be an ego thing or what? It's better. There's a parable that the old people say in kids. They say, there's no bench for you to sit in the river. But when you see people coming and you are naked, you're bathing in the river, you're going to sit down. People will not see you.
But I think the other thing of that, I don't think it will have that much impact around, especially based on the data that I was saying, which we'll talk about on the show. In the coming week, especially over the weekends. Hopefully we'll have some time to break down things, and then I don't think it will have that much impact on the results. So if he does it or not, it's not going to move the needle that much. So maybe not even at all. It's not going to move the needle at all.
Yeah, it's not. Okay. And I would also think a lot of his supporters may not even move to the CDC.
No, yeah, I think most of the people supporting him, they are very pragmatic. These are people who are they're not. I would doubt them even to see them even voting for UP or Joseph Barker or something like that. These are people who probably would just sustain from voting and just sit on the fence or something like that, because these are people who have this hardcore belief in. I think one of the reasons when they think about Tier 1, think about somebody who's been pushing human rights, justice, anti-corruption, and all of that. And so if he's not there, or what he stands for is not, they don't find what he stands for on the ticket, they're just going to sit home or something like that, or not even vote or so.
Definitely. That's something definitely what most people would do, and that helps you to keep your integrity intact. And I always felt like even if he were to join JMB, he could make a good justice minister.
I mean, he is. I mean, I think, but the other thing about it, I think this other thing is like, I mean, and people, I mean, I don't have direct contact to JMB Cam or something like that, but I mean, if I were advising them, I think or maybe if I would think of knowing just the little I know of him, you would be trying to. I mean, you want to form a government that to bring in the best people, regardless of whether they're
Yes,
from party,
yes.
something like
Very
that.
much inclusive. People like
Yes,
that. And that's how the kind of brains you want to start
you want to bring
speaking.
the you want to show
Right.
that you want to bring in the
Backdoor discussions, you know.
yeah. Don't
For people.
think about because this person didn't vote for me or that person voted against me or something like that. No, that's not what you're supposed to do.
So let's come to this weekend and then we can wrap up.
Mhm.
CDC and UP will be having their pre-victory pre-victory
Uh-huh.
rally this Saturday to
Uh-huh.
close their campaign. And I don't know why it's called pre-victory. And sometimes I tend to, as I'm someone who's very pragmatic.
Mhm.
The game is never over until the last whistle is blown.
Yeah.
You're playing. It's like soccer. That's how it is. You've seen so many games wherein it's 2 minutes left or 1 minute and your opponent equalize or
Mhm.
they take the lead. You know, and they both are doing the same thing. CDC is doing theirs on Sunday, where they're having their pre-victory, and UP is doing theirs on Saturday. Do you think that makes sense? Is it necessary? Could it or the connotation, or could they be wise for them to use different name, as in shutting down the campaign or rally or whatsoever, as in pre-victory celebration rally?
I think I'm more concerned about the purpose of it than the name of it. I think this came out because you remember like people were talking about crowd when CDC
Mm-hmm.
launched. CDC was like nobody's going to beat our crowd down, and then UP came back and then launched again. They were like, okay, this is now. So now CDC is saying, hey, you know what? We got to do another launch again to show that we're still around. And then I think UP is falling into that whole piece around the crowd thing also. I think I was reading, from my good friend, Charlie Bear, he was saying that they're thinking about not using ATS. I don't think they should do that because I think people, if they do that again, imagine the last time
No, they're not using. I think CDC is using the
okay,
ATS, but
yeah, because the last
UP
time
is not. UP is not using the ATS.
yeah, so yeah, so I think, but I think it could also be an opportunity to, I mean, even though it's a pre-victory or something, but it could be an opportunity to really galvanize people to bring them together at such that time. It's like it's part of the campaigning stuff to to make sure that you get all of your eggs in row or all your ducks
Right,
in
right,
a row.
right.
It could be like something like that to really get your supporters together. But they shouldn't try to use something like ATS because the last time the rain saved the day, even though some people got hurt and we don't want people dying or something like that because I know it's going to be crazy.
Do you think if this is just a probability
Mm-hmm.
um, statement?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if UP loses elections, it will be a shocker?
You know, it would be depending on how it happened. Except, for example, I hear people talking about one round. A lot of people say, one round, one round. So, and I will talk about this. We will talk about this on the weekend in depth. Also, the data we're looking
Mm-hmm.
at. Is it possible for somebody to win one round? So, right now, like from the data we're looking at, it's very, very difficult for people to, I mean, for any of those parties to win in the first round. And if any party is to win in the first round, it will probably be the opposition. And the reason why it will be the opposition is because number one, the enthusiasm is on their side. They have a lot of people who are excited. They would just want to vote for change. So they are coming in as like, no, we got to vote for change. And then also what we're seeing is that so with the other survey we did was, I mean, the guys did, I'm getting more result from it, was that they were asking people around, like they were trying to look for apathy, among voters. So like people who voted in 2017 for one party to see whether they will still vote for that party. What we see is people who voted for UP, they're most likely to say that they will vote again for UP.
Yeah.
But then when you come to
And
CDC,
also that momentum
yeah,
going into the second
yeah,
round.
when you come to CDC, people will be like, I'm not sure yet. I haven't made up my mind. So then that when you see those kind of hesitant, it's like part of that could also be these people, the voter with high expectation, and the expectation didn't work out. So right now they're at this place. They might not like the opposition, but they're at that place where they don't like what they're seeing. So some of those people could be apathetic voters. They might
Mhm.
even decide like, hey, there's no good option for me. I'm just gonna sit home. I'm not gonna turn out. So those people that turned out. And then the other thing we saw interestingly in the data is like a lot of the young people. There's a generation. I mean, like just an age difference here.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of the young people, first time voters, I like it to vote more for CDC. So
Really?
yes, they are likely to vote more for CDC than the older ones. And then but what's also interesting, the older ones who voted for CDC in the 2011, 2010, and 2017, they're more likely to vote away from CDC. So I don't know because so part of the thing we're trying to understand is that because these people they voted, they had certain expectation and they didn't get to what they saw, and so then they are moving away. So some of the people who you saw in 2017 to be the hardcore voters, most of them are moving away from CDC. So that we used to call them the CDC base. They are moving away, and then the young people who are coming in. They are excited about CDC and
And but when you look at a motorcyclist and a tricyclist,
Mhm,
that all, even those were the people that actually how we are elected. They gone
mhm,
in numbers and stuff,
mhm,
and that even that group is shifting, and the momentum. Majority of them has moved towards the Unity Party.
mhm,
You know,
mhm.
don't you think that will make a big difference?
It will make a significant difference. That's what I was saying. It will make a significant difference because I know these are people who have been like the core, especially in area like Monserrato, where you know CDC has. I mean, CDC won like the lead between CDC and UP was like 1.5 times or so, like almost twice, double the time. I think UP had like 28%, CDC had like 40 something percent or something like that. So, so this time around, I mean, with those people, most of those people feeling like not feeling strongly connected to CDC, it'll be very difficult for them in Maserati. And if they don't win Maserati, it will be really really difficult for them to even come on top. So
Well, it's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a battle to watch. Very fascinating, very
I
interesting.
mean the data
And-
we're looking at the data. If UP does anything less than 70% in Lo-Fi and neighbor, that'll be a weak performance for UP. So UP should get over 70% in both counties.
I did. Talk TV Media did a poll
Mhm,
2 weeks ago, and we try to share that to so many platforms.
mhm.
And the result was we are has 18%. Joe Bucker had 75%. Taiwan had 1%, and Alexander Cummings has 6%.
That was
I'm
that
looking at
for Nimba or Lofa?
no. This was just a general pool.
Oh no,
A pool
yeah. I think that
for,
when you
for
go
all
there,
the
when you
four
go there,
candidates. So what I intend to do tomorrow is to do another pool only for CDC and UP.
yeah. I mean, those posts, yeah, the posts when you do it in general like that, it's very it can be really challenging. So what we do, we try to look at it area by area. So for example, like in Bassa right now
Mhm.
is a battleground. Cummings is going to do really. I mean, it's surprising that people don't not talking about. Cummings is going to do really well in Bassa, from what we're seeing. Cummings,
Really?
Cummings, Bassa and Maryland. Cummings might do. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins Maryland. And
Wow.
yeah, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. But Bassa, he's going to do very very well in Bassa. I think. I mean, Joe Buck. The way I see it, Joe Bucker or Josh Weah will probably get something like if they get any of them get more than 32% in Bassa, then it's a strong showing for them there. So I mean, based on the projection we have right now, because we created the whole system, they will probably be around like 32. So there's a plus or minus two. So either George we are winning by 32% or Joseph Baka wins Buchanan by I mean Basso by 32%. So it'll be 32-30, and then the rest will be Cummings and the rest of the other guys. So Bassa, so you take up Bassa. So Bassa is out of play, right? So you took up Bassa from there, and then you look at Bong.
With all that analysis, man, when you look at this stuff, and I look at Delon and the rescue mother, Yumli, how grounded she is in Grand Bassa, that would be a fight.
Yeah, but the Yumli factor, in fact, the Yumli factor is what makes it favorable for JMB in some way, because that's why even some of the data the guys showed me today seems like it was 32 for UP, 30 for CDC, and then the rest also. Now, 30 for CDC, because like I said, there's a marginal error or two there, so it could drop down to 28. I think CDC one of the things. So in 2017, CDC had a number of people behind them, right? They had like this guy, Finlay, some guy who was like from there, who was the guy who took them there and all of that. Finlay is no longer there. He's with CPP. And then CPP also has Charlene Bronskin's daughter. So that also helps Cummings a lot. So the two people with Cummings, they help me a lot. So Yomli is on the other side. She's.
Well, you have Yomli, you have Senator Kape.
Yeah, but I think just looking at some of the stronger guys, and also just some of these polls we're doing, like they're smaller polls, like maybe interviewing like maybe 10, 15 people at a time. But we try to do it. We try to encourage the guys to do it randomly, so at least we can get, because we don't.
Yeah, randomly is really good. Well, we did a similar thing in Foya the last time, and it was on a market day on a Saturday, and I told the boy, I said, just go random. Anybody that just keke, rider, motorcycle, market woman, whatever, and Joe Barker just won.
That part, it was not.
And it was a very close call between Sakila Newmaling and Thomas Fowler, right?
Yeah.
Very close call in that survey that we did that weekend.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking we need to do one probably this Saturday. Because we want to see with the factor, the scenario, and the chaos that just took place. I'm curious to find out who is holding. Did that scenario affect Thomas Fowler or not?
Okay.
So, very, very curious.
Yeah. So again, and then when I think the other area that may look favorable for GMB is the Western cluster, Bapolo, Kibma, and Bomi. That region looks really favorable for him, and so he can pull off. Basically on the data, in our something we ran, he probably be. Especially in Bomi, I think Babel, there was a 10-point margin between him and Josh Weah, and then. Yeah, and then I think in Cape Town there was a 5-point, and then Bombing there was a 5-point margin or something like that, 5 percentage point margin. Which is,
I think the Union Party might take Nimba.
No, Nima and Lofa. I said Nima and Lofa is also. It's just going to be dependent on the percentage. If they do anything, if they perform below 70%, I think they did worse. So they got a bit enough, because even from here, I was something we got like around 73% for both, around 70 to 73% for both of them.
Well, let's not discuss everything. Let's keep.
Let's keep it. I'm still looking at the numbers. So.
That would be very interesting. Let's do it, because we're gonna keep doing this almost every night. This is day five of elections broadcast. We started day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Today is day 5, up to leading to October 10th. So
the other thing I wanted to add, I just wanted to add. So the other thing that we read it interesting, like just before we wrap up, we also, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about turnout, voters turnout, and we'll also talk about invalid votes. And so I saw a trend we discovered a trend in the invalid votes between rural and urban counties. So that speaks to voter education to see like why it's higher in the rural area versus the urban areas.
That would be interesting. That would be good to see. Yeah. That would be very, very interesting to see. But man, let's catch up. Let's catch up tomorrow.
No
Same
problem.
time, folks. We'll be here. Talk TV Media Network. There's a lot that is going on the platform. You can visit us on the website, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Instagram. You watch us, any of those major platforms. We there. Once we are live, we live on all those 6-7 platforms. So you can watch us wherever you want to. Follow us. We'll bring you the play-by-play. Call it play-by-play description in politics.
Yeah, I mean, you try to bring Samalu back, man.
Oh yeah, I'm bringing him back tomorrow. Don't worry.
Okay, great. Bring him back.
He's gonna
yeah,
come. He's gonna come back tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is the. I think this is the victory. They call it rescue train. Invites you to pre-victory parade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. And but folks, it's election time. You got to choose wisely. Let's choose peace. 6 years decision will be made in just one day. That is the Federation of Liberian Youth promoting all of that. So yeah, you will make that one choice, that one decision, October 10th. So make a wise choice of what you want to see in the next 6 years. Some of you, if you make a wrong choice, don't call me for data. I got no free data. Whoever will become president, whether it is Joe Boakai or President Weah, they will be the one to be sending you data. Don't call me for
and it's not comments. Why are you leaving our comments, man? Come on.
Comments out of the window, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, he's out of the window,
bro. No, you gotta be fair.
He's out. He knows that. He knows that he's out.
Okay.
You know, but let me get the people that cassava leaves some, man. So we're out of here.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, myself, I have to run too. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll connect tomorrow, bro.
All right, bro.
Okay.
I said sweet, it's I believe. Now for good alone. People be get eaten. Other creatures get eaten too. Yeah, I can pray for long hair. She can pray for 2 months. But how long as she living? Her hair will gain a salon. And I'm ready to be handsome. You can pray for money. I know you get money. The money will grow. You take it from you today, I will take it from you tomorrow, sister. You take it from me today, I will take it from you tomorrow, brother. Oh, yes, I believe. Yes, I believe. Oh, yes, I believe. I'm for the
Fellow Liberians, I have come to you today in the words of John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. And so as you prepare yourselves to go to the ballot box, I want you to go to the ballot box with this in mind. Change. A dawn of a new day has arrived. And the only way you will see the light of this day is by you casting your vote to the ballot box. So I have come to you to consciously approach the ballot box, thinking about Liberia's future. That this future is not about you, but the generations and the generations to come. So exercise your inalienable rights, knowing fully well in your mind that you are exercising the only right that will change and bring about the best solutions for the nation of Liberia. So I have come to you today with speaking to the conscience of your heart. Ask not what your country can do for you. Rather, ask what you can do for your country. I challenge you today. Don't look at today. Don't look at where we are today as a nation, as a people. Look at the possibilities of tomorrow. What could be? What is possible? The dawn of a new day has come. A new leader is about to emerge. So vote. Vote. Go to the ballot box and vote.